There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Oh man, that is...
We just made it. It's about 11:30 in the morning. That's early for me. We made it to IMI Motorsports Park. It's out here a little north of Denver. It reminds me a lot of the Firm out in the middle of Florida, where you can kind of do just about what you want, except there's a lot of variety here as well. So there's a guy on a motorcycle that's currently using the track, and that's what he's allowed to do. But we're gonna start getting some cars unloaded and have some fun with testing the cars the way we would all want to test them, not just in a professional grid life. Even though grid life's not necessarily professional, but higher stakes environment, this we can slide off, and I can try pushing it through the turn and laughing and all that sort of stuff and learning. And if I want to stop, I can stop and then try that turn again or whatever. Obviously, we want to make sure these cars don't get damaged, but what's the point of a car if you don't use it? So these two can brake. I don't care because they're on a trailer and they're going to make it back to the shop that way. So we don't need 3 cars on that trailer. But at worst case, we even have the truck we can take out.
We're not gonna be able to get back up with that. Today's episode is brought to you by Fun. Since Kev's here, I was like, we're up the street, we'll just go do this, have some fun. I'm gonna have him go out in the stock cars, learn the track a little bit, have some fun with each other, and then we're gonna come back and then he's gonna be able to say, okay, I could do this with the forward, I could do this with the C5, we're gonna go through and do that. The main thing I want to do today is adjust the braking, because the braking with all-wheel drive affects it a lot. So we're going to take all-wheel drive off and slam on the brakes and do some stuff like that. So we get the brake bias perfect and just have a good time. That's all today's about, having a good time.
That was already a lot of fun, and Kev made the mistake of coming onto the track right in front of me, and so then I just hounded him the whole time. I had that one extra lap of experience. Not trying to brag, but what's really funny is how much of a difference in time. Now, those of you guys that are armchair racers or even racers know that straight line is the shortest distance, but if you look at that section right there, little S's, chicane, whatever you want to call it, the straightest path is the fastest one. So when Kev was actually taking the turns like a turn, and I went through it using the track as basically a wiggle of straight line, caught up to him so quickly. It's neat to see that firsthand, how much of a difference that makes.
Josh, good to meet you. Grant, nice to meet you.
Bridge or semi-feet?
Nothing. It's stock.
Yeah. There's no way.
That's
What'd you fuck up to do that?
straight pipe exhaust, and that is it.
We got the old school Mazda 13P housing. I always love the Mazda on that. This thing's nice. I love me seeing that. The body line is so nice.
With all the body work, all the carbon and everything on the four-rotor, it is starting to look like how much money I've put into it. With that and the Lamborghini in the shop, I do get a couple people driving by that kind of sketch me out, that you're here alone, 2 in the morning. I shouldn't have a party at the shop, especially uninvited guests. And so thanks to Simply Safe, I don't have to worry about that party getting out of hand. I've got all the entry sensors, the motion sensors, flooding sensors, temperature sensors, smoke detector, all in one system. Finally, the system told me, hey, your front door sensor, the battery's low. And so, pop it off, pops back on there, Simple enough. Front door is closed. I couldn't have come up with a better name for a thing. It's simply safe. That's what it makes me feel, and that emotion is worth a lot more than it actually costs you. The comprehensive protection, it's less than $1 a day, and it's as simple as just checking cameras right here. Phenomenal system. I'm very thankful that Simply Safe has come into my life. It's really neat because I actually have a handful of friends who just sent me pictures of their Simply Safe systems that they got through seeing these ads. Kayla, you're one of them. It's super exciting that we're now twins. If you're interested in getting a Simply Safe system or learning more about it, go to simplysafe.com/RobDahm, and Simply Safe gives you the first month free and 20% off of your order when you sign up for interactive monitoring. It's phenomenal. Go to simplysafe.com/RobDahm to find out more.
What you doing over there?
I am adjusting shock dampers.
So we need
Shocking.
more hard.
Yep, so I'm setting the shocks to max.
Heating.
No, shut the, I hate both of you. I hate both of you. Yeah, so look at the difference. My side's definitely. This will at least just get that out of the equation.
Just make it easier to drive.
Mm-hmm. They're all ripped already.
My hand's stuck in my spring.
Actual brother.
My hand's stuck in my turbo.
Hell. Shocks and everything are all firmed on the forwarder, so that's as hard as we can get. He wanted a little bit more firm, but we still will go all the way and we'll dial back a little bit from there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna disengage the all-wheel drive system. He's gonna go around the track and he's gonna stomp on the brakes. We're gonna look at the data to see what locks up first. Ideally, we want them to lock up about the same time, maybe the front just a little bit more. He knows the perfect ratio, but that's gonna be the first thing we do before we go even harder for this thing.
I went to push on the back.
Wow, she torqued. Man.
That's probably why this is being so hard to close.
Even harder to close, yeah.
Yeah.
You broke.
So
broke a
the
tire.
one on the thin sheet metal that was holding it to the bottom tube right here,
Yeah.
broke off.
No, that's,
Oh well.
yeah.
Let's do it again.
Yep.
Longer this time.
That's what she said.
Yeah, and that's how I also disappointed her.
We're going to be testing a lot. So we increased brake bias to the front because the all-wheel drive system was messing me up a little bit on knowing where that was at. So we've increased brake bias and we've tightened the shocks to a maximum rigidity. Technically, it's acting like a more firm spring rate. I'm driving the whole track, but I'm not driving the whole track. I'm going into certain turns and seeing what the car does in that turn, or slamming on the brakes really hard. This car locks up or has problems at 1G of deceleration. So let's see if we can get past that. the goal right there, is to push it so hard that things start acting up, because then we can fix it. I'm gonna download the logs. As you saw, as the car started to warm up, it started to break up. So I suspect that's because I have extra fueling just in case, but that's almost too much extra fueling. I warmed her up. Oil, coolant, everything is at full operating temperature, and thankfully everything's fine. Firming up that suspension gave me a glimpse of what this thing can do in turns. And what's really wild, the first thing you can think of when you are on a small course like this is that if you're in an FD or a Corvette or whatever, you get tons of oversteer powering out of turns. This all-wheel drive system on this, at least for a beginner racer like me, just pulls you out of that turn, so you get a little bit more confidence. And this is probably the first time I felt it where the car had very little excuse for me to be a better driver. Before, it's like, okay, we were hitting this, the suspension was too soft. Now it's like, if a professional driver got in the car, they could go faster. Now that we're learning more about the car, I'm gonna go back to the basics, and I'm gonna turn off all-wheel drive. So we should see her getting a little bit loose, but it's actually not for that. It's for the braking and to see if all-wheel drive system is overcurrenting and causing the ignition system breakup. They're on the same, not circuit, but same overall system. The all-wheel drive system uses a lot of power because I'm overcharging it. It's gonna look fun because I'm gonna be slipping and sliding a little bit. Nasty. Going to rear-wheel drive has taught me a lot for this, and in fact, that's definitely the right move. We can isolate things on each wheels, the front wheels versus the rear wheels. When the all-wheel drive system is in and on, it turns all the wheels to each other, so it makes it very difficult for a beginner to figure that out. But I forgot earplugs on that run, and I felt it. But I think I'm gonna jump back in the C8 and play with the C8 a little bit more now that Isaiah adjusted the camber. For fun, in front of Joel, just pulled the e-brake just for the hell of it. But the car was breaking up, so I was like, oh shit, I'd have to follow through with actually drifting. And I was like, I'm not trying to actually push the car that hard. So I was like, dick tease. Thanks to Scott Wolfert, he actually pointed this out at the track as the sidewall on this started getting worn in. And of course, I haven't messed with this car at all. This is a bone stock car. But he was pointing out that unless my tire pressure is low, which it wasn't, that means that I was having positive camber. And sure enough, when you look at the tires on this car, they're square. With the camber gain on the control arms and everything like that, that is not the ideal thing for the track. I'm sure it's great for traditional driving. You got nice, clean traction, but I can actually feel the inside of the tire to here is not worn. We'll pop out the lower control arms just a little bit. Maybe that'll help with the understeering a little bit, because now instead of the tire laying flat on the road, it's got pressure like this, so not as much surface area hitting the road. So hopefully that'll give me a little bit more front end, so I don't feel like I'm pushing the car so hard. I love Expel. I used to install Expel for a couple years, but blue tape is easy to prevent the worst of it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just liberally put this on the car in places that don't deserve the treatment that we're about to do.
Yeah, if you hit one raccoon with it, none of it matters anymore.
At the bottom of AA arms, there's that little camber plate, cam lobe type thing to either pull your control arm out to give you more camber or pull it in to give you more camber. The Lamborghini team, like I say, in the upper control arms, we put shims back there to kind of control our camber. and it's just 2 bolts. And so behind the OEM one, they had this pretty thick shim. So I just took that off, which is going to give us, you know, negative camber, so evenly. Because I was trying to mark it and move it the same amount, but I knew I was going to be able to do that. I only have 1 socket that fits onto those big ass nuts and bolts down there. So this actually worked out very well. So now we have even camber on the inside. I would say like about a degree, maybe 2, something like that. Anything helps, especially we're down on the track and stuff like that. And he also needs to drive home. So she's going to be perfect. Throw the wheel back on there to the other side, and should be fun to drive again.
Could you overlay timing? There we go. Okay, let's see how different this is. This is so much fun. What an amazing car. That was an absolute blast. The C8 with the C7 and everybody else, oh, it was just such a rush. I wasn't overdriving it, I was driving it hard. On the very back, I nailed the braking zone for that car. I was literally like, fuck, right at the last second, and it pulled over. But I was full throttle all the way up, and then...
How did the camber feel?
Today is the finale of this whole series. My channel is it's over. At Grid Life, you've got noise, people, everything going crazy, and other people on the track. We just changed camber from 0 to basically 1.5 to 2, and I know what that feels like now. And before, it was understeering like crazy. Like, you could still see, if you watch this video, at certain moments, I was coming in too hot, and it still understeers a little bit, but it wasn't understeering as the car's just like characteristic. And so it was a big difference. It would make a professional faster. It doesn't feel like, oh my God, I was tons faster just because of it, but I could trust the car into, like, coming into the turn a little bit hotter, or coming out of the turn even hotter. It just felt right. Because sometimes when you're like midway through turn, you start accelerating. Most cars, again, tail happy. That car's got all super advanced traction control, so you don't feel a tail kick out. You just feel the front just slide. You'll watch where, like, I'm turning and the car is coming out. But now, so much better. This is perfect.
I want to know on camera, can you see the V on his chest through the shirt? That, are you able to capture that?
Yeah, you can see it.
They're like a superhero.
Yeah, that's my secret idea. My secret idea. I'm Valvoline
Yeah,
man.
literally.
We are about to do something we've been wanting to see for a while, which is the C8 versus the C5, brother versus better brother. We're gonna get the C5 started, and we're gonna take them both on the track, and we're just gonna see, can David really beat Goliath?
So there's very two distinct differences between this car, and the first one is the 3, you know, C5 and C8. So there's just a 3 difference. And the second one is one car is actually a museum delivered Corvette. So it can't lose to anything. It's just physically impossible. That's just not how that works. The museum delivery car, which is the C5, is going to beat the C8's ass all day long.
The museum delivery is better than the first crash C8?
Yeah, 100%.
It
yeah,
is. I realized what I said out loud.
Museum delivery beats first crash every single day.
Yeah, the drive-by-wire cleaned up instantly, but I mean, it might malfunction again, who knows, but...
Let's just hope that was it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the handling's so much better. Oh man, that is... Okay, I wasn't expecting it to be that strong. Oh, third gear is weird.
Yeah.
That car actually can't go that much faster in those areas. This car is killing it.
Yeah, the tires are warming up too, you can feel that.
Yeah. She loves that.
Yeah, this whole second gear
Yeah.
is perfect.
Yeah, she doesn't do well with gear
No, I've noticed that the second to third, I don't know why, it's just,
yeah,
it just doesn't like that.
it's over 5,000 RPM too. Look at how tight this car can.
This thing's handling super well.
Yeah. Dude, it's so fucking sick.
It's just badass, dude.
Yeah.
It's just sticky, dude.
I'm blown away.
I really am. You can see the C8's about to give out.
Yeah, it really is. I know he's not. He's driving it. Like I.
Jesus Christ. That sounded nice. This is badass.
This is like the result of all of our work. That we finally like can prove that the stuff that we're building That's max braking right there.
Yeah.
Temps look good.
Really?
Fuck yeah.
That's dope. That's really nice. I didn't feel a bad spot or anything. And
No. This car fucks. It is so grippy. It shits on the C8. Absolutely shits on the C8. I've got way more time in that than this, but I figured out some of my bugs. We were hooking through turns. Yeah.
Why'd you pull out?
Just to
hot?
make sure the no, I couldn't tell, so I made sure the logs were good, made sure everything's good.
You always pull out, baby.
Yeah.
Always.
I'm gonna go back out right now and then
I'm gonna send Kev with
Okay.
you.
Okay,
You
yeah,
want me to
yeah.
go with- Yeah? All right.
I wasn't gonna tell it to Rob, but I'll tell the camera. He's 10 times the driver than I am. Like, I mean that as in I will catch up and I'll be 11 times that he is, but holy fuck, dude. That was nuts. That was nuts. My insides hurt.
That's badass.
I was hoping that what just happened would be what happened. This is the fastest car we have here. With having everything all working right, I had some bugs in the way I set it up. She performs so well. The engine only got the 182, 183 degrees, so the ducting is excellent. It's what, it was 75 out right now, close to 80. Intake temps are higher than my usual big, massive intercoolers, but they're still within perfect range. Engine stayed cold. Oil was a little bit hotter, but the two oil coolers kept it in line. Got up there and just stayed at operating temperature. And so I got tons of logs to look through, but holy shit, this thing grips. I took Kev, you saw me getting a little squirrely in there, but that was pushing the car's limits, and it's so much fun. I could turn on traction control and all that, and we'll do that in the next couple videos, but this has been absolutely incredible. The Rotary Corvette is proving everything that we're doing, we're getting better at. That car is an animal, absolutely faster than, of course, the C5, the C6, the 7, 8, like stock, of course, but you have to prove it. You can't just say that, right? The weight distribution on that car, oversteer a little bit with the rear power, but in turns, we lucked out with just the bullshit kind of alignment that we have right now. I just kind of guessed it all in, and it's just nasty. The tires are great. The car puts down power, low to high. The only problem I have is that my tach goes to 7,000, and carrying it to 8,500 or 8,700 actually has some benefits on tracks like this where I can just stay in a certain gear instead of having to shift and lose some time there. But the braking is phenomenal, the going's phenomenal, the maintaining throttle, the turn in, the turn out, mid-turn, I am so happy. And four rotor, everything, we walk away from here with all running cars and some guy on the track that doesn't know how to drift, but that's okay. Him wiping out multiple times is the only person who's actually went off track. And so with Kev having his McLaren out here driving all the way and be able to drive all the way back, I don't know, this has just been a peak life experience.